All right, what's happening, everybody? Dave Mormon here, home service business coach. And on today's episode, I want to share with you a little bit of a more contrarian view that I have when it comes to entrepreneurship and jumping in full-time on your dream, okay? And that is a really kind of a secret hack that I've been able to perfect in the last number of companies that I've started. And this is why it's contrarian, is because we hear, you need to burn the ships and you need to go all in on your dreams, right? You need to throw everything at your business. And while I agree to an extent with that point, I actually think you're better off keeping your day job and the thing that pays the bills while you're moonlighting and hustling up your company, okay? And I've done this now like multiple times. And so I'm just sharing on this channel like, hey, this has worked for me, because it breaks my heart. I've seen a number of times people get entrepreneurship advice that you need to jump in and you need to go all in. And so they end up actually like quitting their day job, right? Where sometimes they have a pretty decent paying day job making 80 or 100 grand a year. And they're like, I'm going to go all in on this business because it needs my full time. The reality is most businesses actually end up failing, and they fail for cash flow and for lack of leads, right? Which turns to lack of sales and just the business not growing. At the end of the day, like, I think I've seen enough businesses, people jump out and they go in full time and they don't end up actually making it work. And then they're left without a job and with a failed business, right? And so while it is more difficult, I think, to do, I would suggest you keep the day job going. Let's say you're making 8 grand a month on the day job, you're powering your family, maybe saving a little bit, that's great. And it will flex your time based on your situation. But if you can invest, evenings, any time off you can get from your job, weekends, into building that company on this side, you want to get what's called proof of concept, right? And this is kind of from the book, The Blue Ocean Strategy. You want to have that minimal viable product, which is, hey, this thing now works. The guts of it are built out. Now we're going to take it to market and we're going to see what the market says. And I just think it's a more conservative approach to business, but it is one that will keep you from kind of screwing yourself over and being left without anything, okay? So I'll tell you how I got my first painting business going. I was actually in school at the time, in business school, right? I was in business school about 30 to 40 hours a week. And then I was investing another 30 hours a week to growing my painting business, right? Now, it was easy back then, not easy, but easier. I was 19, 20 years old then. Didn't have a lot of responsibilities. I was still living at home, so I was able to do that, right? And then I did it again when I had my other painting franchise going. I was making about $100,000 a year, not having to work super hard, but it was still requiring me about 20-ish hours a week to keep that business going. I took my other 30-ish, 40 hours a week and I invested in Revive on the side, right? And I got Revive going, my pressure cleaning business, and we did 89 grand in our first year. Could I have done more if I didn't have the painting business? I probably could. But again, that 89 grand, I was profitable on about 50% of that. I could throw the profits, 45K, back into the business to grow again the next year. And then we almost doubled to 155 grand, right? Revive over here. Still got painting going over here. I'm making 100 grand. I'm traveling the world. I'm paying down my mortgage, but I'm focused on growing Revive, right? And then Revive jumped up. We did 582 the third year, right? And that's where I made well over 100 grand that year with Revive. And I said, you know what? This is clearly a proven business model. I can do this. I can now depart from my painting business. I can pass it on and I can jump in full time into Revive, because that's the opportunity, right? And then we're able to grow 582 to 682 to $810,000 and grow the business from there, right? That's just illustrating my point that you don't want to sell off the thing that pays your bills, especially with cost of living today. That's only increasing. The more cash flow that your new baby business has, the better off you're going to be. And so for me, I just delayed paying myself from Revive for about the first 2 years or so because I had my other business going, right? Now, it may have taken me an additional year, maybe, right? We don't really know, because that was my decision. It may take a little bit longer. However, it is like such a clear decision. The year we hit 582, I'm like, I need to go all in on this. Like, this is not a little side hustle, side of desk project. This is like a $500,000 business growing on its way to 7 figures, right? I need to go all in on this, right? And the same thing has happened now in my coaching journey as well, right? Revive has been running now for a number of years without me in the day-to-day. And I started doing a little bit of coaching on the side, right? I just started with Fridays, right? And I charge people $200 for a 1-hour Zoom call with me, right? And I got that going. And then I did, a group coaching program. And then I figured that model more out, right? And then I was able to hire coaches and get them to help me grow the business. And then I hired a salesperson, right? And so all the while, I've kept Revive going, right? The coaching has swung my focus over to be able to grow this, but Revive is still able to run because there's a stable team in place. And so I personally don't think you have to sell off everything and go all in on one opportunity to blow it up, right? Now, granted, I've not built massive $50 or $100 million businesses, right? So this is advice basically if you want to build a profitable lifestyle business, not have a ton of stress, have a few managers, like that's just my style when it comes to entrepreneurship. I personally believe it's less of a risky situation because, only 3% of the world are actually entrepreneurs. And most of those 3% actually don't have profitable businesses, right? So you're really going all in on betting on you being like kind of the purple unicorn that you're going to figure it out. And I would just advise, no disrespect to you, but I would just advise you kind of walking before you can run. And it's just a little bit of a safer way to make decisions, especially those of you that have a partner or have kids or have, higher monthly expenses, right? Like the family men or women listening on this call, like you might need $6,000, $8,000, $10,000 a month just to power the household, right? And that's totally fine versus like the single guy or girl might be 22 right now and you might live on 3 or 4K a month, right? I lived on 4 or 5K a month for 5 or 6 years on my own before getting married and starting to have a family, right? Now 5 or 6K a month, like that doesn't get the job done for my house anymore, right? So you need to figure it out for your situation and see what's going to work. But I'm just telling you, I think it's something that's not talked about enough in entrepreneurship is you don't need to go all in right away. I would say you create an MVP, a minimal viable product. You prove the concept that, hey, there is $200,000 of work in our local area, people saying, yes, I want you to paint my house, or yes, I want you to clean my gutters or windows. You can prove to yourself, prove to your spouse, your partner that this is a real thing. It's growing. I've got a big client list. I've got purchase signed orders. That's where I would say, you know what? I would be betting on your success then and like almost giving you the green light to go all in, right? And I'll just share one last story. Originally, when I had my painting business, right, I'm 19, 20 years old, no really experience running a business before. It was a franchise, right? And the franchisor told me and told all the franchisees, hey, before you go and get to paint your first house, you need to actually book, like it was like $20,000, I believe at the time. You need to book $20,000 in signed contracts before we're gonna give you the green light to say, all right, go get your painting kit. You can go paint that first house based on the training that we gave you, right? And I thought it was always a little bit silly at the time. I'm like, man, I booked my first house. I got a $3,000 job. Let's go make $3,000. No, you should just delay a bit and wait, prove the concept, and then you dive all in. And it's the same message that I'm giving you today is like, don't go dive all in. As alluring as it may seem, business has a ton of challenges that come your way. And if you can keep the money side of the household almost handled, you can go be kind of crazy entrepreneur on the side. Even if that's only 15 or 20 hours you can commit to it, it's going to give you confidence and steel in your spine to say, hey, business owner Josh, you've got a real business idea here. The market is saying yes to you. You've proven this over a season or two. I would be betting on, I think if you jumped into this thing full time, I think you could really get it ripping, right? And we've seen this with a couple teachers we've now coached in our coaching program that have built $400,000 or $500,000 businesses, on the side while they teach. Now they're blessed to have a couple months off in the summer and can have a bit more of a flexible schedule. But those are the entrepreneurs I'm coaching now saying, man, at what point are you going to leave this job? Because you're doing a $500K washing business, making $150K a year. If we grew that to $1 million, you can make $250K a year and have all your time, right? So there'll be a very clear point in time where you're just looking in the mirror, you're talking to your partner, you're saying, man, if I went all in on this thing, I know I could rip it up. It's usually not happening in the first year of business, just usually, right? Now, everyone's situation is different, but usually it takes a season or two, get a bit of traction, get some clients, prove the concept, make good money, and that's where those conversations can start happening. And you'll know when you've got that fire in your belly, you're like, all right, it's time to go all in on this thing. And I only want to share with you guys what's worked for me, what's worked for the clients that we've helped, and you can glean the gold nuggets and apply them to your own situation. So just want to say thank you so much for watching. Go ahead, drop a comment if you're listening on YouTube. Just tell me your biggest takeaway. Am I spot on? Am I way out to lunch? If you're listening on the podcast, I really appreciate you and would love if you could leave us a review just to tell us about your experience. And for those of you keeners, want to learn about what we do here at Home Service Business Coach and how we've helped hundreds now of entrepreneurs, from painters, landscapers, pressure washers, window cleaners. We teach you the business skills over our 9-month intensive mastermind. If you want to learn what that looks like, see what it's all about, see if you're even a good fit, because it is by invitation only, you can go ahead and book a free call with our team down below and you can see what we're all about. But thank you so much for watching, everyone. It's Dave Moorman here, Home Service Business Coach in the brand new studio. Hope you grabbed something from today's episode, and we'll see you on the next edition.